Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Every year, there are some 15,000 phone calls to the Vermont Attorney General's Consumer Assistance Program. And every year, the program helps Vermonters who have been victims of scams or identity theft. It also mediates consumer complaints, resulting in thousands of dollars in resolutions for Vermont consumers. Overall, the team at the Consumer Assistance Program, also known as CAP, focuses on education. Today, we're going to learn more about CAP and talk with two experts who have tips on how to protect yourself and your loved ones. Joining us via Zoom are Ben Drape and Lisa Jensen. Thank you so much for being here. Ben is a UVM student and a consumer advisor with CAP, and Lisa is the program's assistant director. Thank you again both for joining us this afternoon.
Nice to be here, Fran.
Thank you.
So people might not be aware that the Attorney General's Consumer Assistant Program has roots at the University of Vermont. So Ben, before we talk about the latest scam, tell us about how you became aware of and involved in the program.
Yeah, absolutely. So I took a class with actually Associate Attorney General Ryan Krieger about consumer law and public policy, where I was learning about my rights as a consumer. And in this class, he mentioned to us that there was an opportunity to kind of apply the knowledge that we've learned at the Consumer Assistance Program. So that gave us the opportunity to essentially come in and work in the office along with the professional staff members who work there, and actually work through processing complaints and helping consumers around Vermont deal with consumer law issues. So I started there last year and worked through the semester, learned that there was a second level of the class where I could go and do more advanced work with the Consumer Assistance Program. And so I did that, and also ended up being a part-time employee there.
Awesome. So what really is the role of a consumer advisor? What kind of calls are you taking? What do you do?
Consumer advisors, essentially what we do is we process complaints. So CAP offers an informal letter mediation process that helps consumers try to, deal with any consumer law issues with the business between the two of them. And essentially what that looks like is, they'll file a complaint with our office, and, we'll forward the information along to the business and try to help them resolve the issue. We also have a hotline where we can help consumers with any consumer issues they have, as well as process any scam calls they receive. So we'll also answer the phone. If consumers receive a scam, we'll help them out and try to either let them know that it's a scam or help them deal with any potential loss with the scam.
Great service, and probably calming them down a lot too. So Lisa, what is the latest scam targeting Vermonters?
Well, Fran, in addition to the very persistent Social Security phishing scam, the latest one is the Amazon phishing scam, which is particularly concerning considering the pandemic and the increase in consumers purchasing items online. So here's how it works. A consumer will get a call or an email or a text claiming it's Amazon.com. The message is an urgent message. Your credit card has been charged a large amount of money for an order. So if you didn't place this order, in order to solve it, call Amazon support. When the consumer calls that number, that is the scammer. And the scammer wants your passwords, your credit card, your bank account information, your personal information.
Well, so it sounds like scammers are not only trying to steal your money, they're also trying to steal your identity.
Absolutely. And
go ahead. No, that's very, very scary, the whole identity theft thing.
It is. And what happens, now identity theft is a crime. So what happens when a scammer obtains your personal information, they can then file for unemployment insurance. They can make purchases, open up credit cards. They can open up bank accounts. So it's really important that that we get the message out that we can help people recover from identity theft.
Right. So it's easy to think identity theft just happens to other people, but of course that's not true. And we can learn more from this very brief video from the Federal Trade Commission.
Lynn didn't worry about identity theft. She always said, "Who'd want to steal my identity?" Lynn never had a credit card or borrowed money. She figured thieves wouldn't mess with someone who had no credit history. One day, Lynn decided to apply for a credit card. She sent in her application, but the company turned her down. Lynn wanted to know what happened. Why didn't she get the credit card? She got a free copy of her credit report to find out. There, Lynn discovered that someone had opened 8 credit cards in her name. They even got a car loan. And whoever used her name wasn't paying any of the bills. The credit report said all the accounts were overdue. Lynn tried to fix these mistakes, but she found out that it's not easy to prove that you did not do something. Those businesses held Lynn responsible for the bills, at least until she proved that the bills belonged to an identity thief. It took a long time, but she fixed the problem. Now Lynn checks her credit report every year to look for signs of identity theft.
So as the video noted, it can be incredibly difficult and take quite a bit of time to recover from identity theft. But Lisa, you told me before we began the program that you have 3 guiding principles to recovery. What's the first?
The first and the most important is to file an identity report with the Federal Trade Commission. And you'll see on the screen
there you go.
Yes, thank you. The address for the website is identitytheft.gov. We also here at CAP have information we can mail to consumers as well. So file the report with FTC and file with the police.
And so are there other key principles or do we have them here?
Yeah. So the second one is to place a fraud alert on one of your credit with one of the credit bureaus, who in turn will contact the other 2 credit bureaus.
Okay.
And third is change passwords, login passwords, any PINs, anything on your personal accounts.
Great. Okay. It takes a long time, but so important. And how can viewers protect themselves from the scammers themselves?
So in order to protect yourself from the scammers themselves, we have a plan that we want to share with consumers. And this is a plan to deal with all scammers, not just Amazon phishing or Social Security phishing. The first principle is, well, the method is slow. So the first principle is slow down. These scammers want you to act urgently. So take a moment and take a breath and pause.
Okay.
The second is log the call. Write down the phone number of the caller and hang up immediately. We don't want you to engage with the scammer further than that. The third is make one call, trusted friend or family member, and discuss what happened. And the last is know who cares. And the Consumer Assistance Program cares. We want to hear if somebody has received a call, if they've been a victim of a scam and experienced a loss, or if they've been a victim of identity theft.
So when you call CARES, you're calling Ben basically. So which is wonderful, and I'm sure that a lot of what he does is just calm people down and go through this slow down, log the call, one call to your family, and then maybe caps if you need to. So Ben, if you want to come in with any other thoughts about this slow, is this what you then talk to people about?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the biggest things is kind of panic that happens when you receive a scam phone call, because as Lisa mentioned, that's kind of the goal of the scammer, is to scare you. So one of the biggest things is to know that, like, no matter if it was real or a scam, nothing has to happen right now. And so that gives you a moment to step back, take a deep breath, and think about whether or not this is a scam, and whether or not this is something that you need to even pay attention to. And so, yeah, a lot of the time it's reassuring consumers that they're going to be okay, or that, the scam phone call was not real at all, and to just take a step back and think about it.
And Also, Ben, when people are writing down the number, can you do like *69? Doesn't that, because I don't have a number that shows up on my phone, but I can find out who called me by doing *69. Do you recommend that?
You know, it works and it doesn't. The fact of
Okay.
the matter is that scammers, they use something called phone number spoofing. So what they'll do is they'll completely hide their phone number from you. And so, you know, even if, you know, it's good for us to have the phone number just in case. But a lot of the time, you know, we've had instances of folks getting scam calls from their neighbors because,
Oh
you know,
dear.
scammers like to use phone numbers that would look familiar to you, so you pick up. So they're often very similar to your own phone number.
Now, Lisa, there's legislation that went in, I think, at some point. I'm not sure when it's going to kick in, but are we hopeful that things might change a little bit?
We are. There is legislation passed by Congress. There's the TRACED Act, TRACED, which directs phone providers to create technology that is going to block these scam robocalls.
Great. So we might have some relief, sometime in June or something? Maybe.
Next spring, yes.
But still watch out. So Lisa, you also offer other resources for consumers which are online. Can you tell us about those?
Yes, we invite Vermonters to sign up for our scam alert. We invite you to go to our website, which is ago.vermont, spelled out, .gov, so the Attorney General's website. And you can sign up for the scam alert. You can read information about consumer issues, and you can also file a complaint with us if you have an unresolved complaint that you need assistance with.
Fantastic. Thank you both so much for what you do, which is so important, and for being with us today to tell us a little bit about scamming and what to watch for, and to know that they're also after your identity, which really becomes a horrible hassle. So we all need to watch out for that. Thank you all. Thank you both, Ben Drape and Lisa Jensen, for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Stay well.